History branded him a monster, a teacher of tyrants, the architect of evil. Yet he was the only man honest enough to look into the abyss of political reality and write down what he saw. He did not invent cruelty. He simply stripped power of its sacred mask. This is not the myth of Machiavellian malice. This is the true story of Niccolo Machiavelli, The Anatomy of Power. May 3rd, 1469. Niccolo Machiavelli was born into a Florence of golden splendor and hidden daggers. Raised in impoverished nobility, young Niccolo devoured the classics, learning early that men change little across centuries. Florence, under Lorenzo the Magnificent, was a paradise of art, masking a ruthless oligarchy. In 1492, Lorenzo died, the Golden Age shattered, exposing Italy to foreign wolves. King Charles VIII of France swept into Italy with heavy artillery. Florentine pride evaporated overnight. In the chaos, a fanatical friar rose to rule Florence, Girolamo Savonarola, declaring Christ the king of the city. Art, philosophy, and luxury were cast into flames. Moral purity replaced political pragmatism. Machiavelli watched closely. He noted how the friar relied solely on religious zeal, without military force to back it up. When the public turned, Savonarola had no arms to defend himself. He was hanged and burned. This was Machiavelli's first great political lesson. All armed prophets conquer, and the unarmed ones are destroyed. At 29, with no aristocratic backing, Machiavelli was appointed head of the Second Chancery of Florence. He became the workhorse of the Republic, drafting thousands of dispatches and managing foreign relations. Dispatched across Europe, his mission was clear: save Florence from hungry superpowers with nothing but intelligence and diplomacy. In France, Cardinal d'Amboise told him Italians understood nothing of war. Machiavelli sharply replied, the French understood nothing of statecraft. He saw the power of a unified nation with a loyal army, a sharp contrast to Italy's weak, mercenary-dependent city-states. In 1502, Machiavelli met the man who would define his life's philosophy, Cesare Borgia, the ruthless son of Pope Alexander VI. Borgia was young, terrifyingly ambitious, and utterly unburdened by Christian morality. At Senigallia, Borgia invited his treacherous generals to a banquet of reconciliation and strangled them all before dawn. Where others saw horror, Machiavelli saw genius. It was swift, decisive, and prevented a bloody civil war. To pacify a rebellious province, Borgia appointed a cruel governor, then had him executed and sliced in half in the public square. The people were left satisfied and stupefied. Machiavelli coined a concept for Borgia's political instinct, virtù, not moral virtue, but ruthlessness, adaptability, and force. But Borgia made one fatal error. He failed to foresee that his father, Pope Alexander, would die at the exact moment Borgia himself fell ill. Fortuna, fate, had struck. Borgia's empire collapsed like sand. Enter Pope Julius II, the warrior pope, who conquered with impetuous speed, proving that bold action often masters fortune. Machiavelli begged Florence to abandon expensive, disloyal mercenary soldiers. Mercenaries, he warned, are useless and dangerous. He created Florence's first citizen army, peasant farmers fighting for their own homes, not gold. In 1509, Machiavelli's militia conquered Pisa. It was his greatest military triumph. His theory was proven. Diplomatic missions took him to the Holy Roman Empire, where he analyzed the disciplined strength of Swiss and German infantry. But international geopolitics were shifting. Florence chose the wrong side in the clash between France and the Holy League. The battle-hardened Spanish infantry was dispatched by the Pope to crush Florence and restore the Medici family to power. At Prato, Machiavelli's citizen militia collapsed against veteran Spanish troops. The city was mercilessly sacked. The Florentine Republic fell. Soderini fled into exile. 14 years of Machiavelli's hard work vanished in a single day. The Medici family returned as rulers of Florence. Machiavelli was immediately stripped of his official post and banned from the government. Stripped of power, the man who lived for statecraft was cast into darkness. Months later, his name appeared on a list of suspected anti-Medici conspirators. He was arrested. Thrown into the Bargello dungeon, Machiavelli faced the ultimate trial of human endurance. He was subjected to 6 drops of the strappato, a torture designed to break the body and force a confession. He refused to break. He confessed to nothing. When Cardinal Medici became Pope Leo X, a general amnesty was declared. Machiavelli walked free. Physically broken, financially ruined, and forbidden from political life, he was exiled to his small farm in Sant'Andrea in Percusina. Here, far from the halls of power he loved, Machiavelli entered his darkest depression. By day, he lived a monotonous life, haggling with woodcutters over lumber prices. In the afternoon, he drank cheap wine and played dice at the local inn with the butcher and the miller, lowering himself to survive the boredom. But when evening came, an extraordinary transformation took place. "I step into the ancient courts of ancient men," he wrote. "I speak with them and ask them the reasons for their actions, and for 4 hours I feel no boredom. I forget every affliction. I give myself entirely to them." In a feverish burst of genius between July and December 1513, Machiavelli poured his life experience into a slim handbook for rulers, The Prince. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Those who rely simply on the lion do not understand what they are about. Fortune is like a violent river that destroys everything when enraged, but when the weather is fair, men must build dams to direct its power. He dedicated the book to the Medici, seeking a job, any job, even if it meant rolling a stone. The Medici tossed the manuscript aside, unread. While the prince taught single rulers how to survive crisis, Machiavelli simultaneously wrote the Discourses, his true passion, arguing that republics are vastly superior to monarchies. In 1519, Machiavelli was welcomed into the Orti Auricellari gardens, becoming the philosophical master to a new generation of Florentine republicans. He taught them that political freedom requires eternal vigilance, citizen sacrifice, and moral flexibility when the state is threatened. He published The Art of War, the only major political work printed during his lifetime, advocating for national defense systems. Impoverished, Machiavelli finally accepted a partial return to Medici favor, a commission from Cardinal Giulio de' Medici to write the Florentine histories. Writing history for the men who imprisoned you is dangerous work. Machiavelli mastered subtlety, praising the Medici's virtues while exposing their corrupting effect on liberty. To process his cynicism, Machiavelli wrote La Mandragola, a biting theatrical satire exposing human hypocrisy, religion, and gullibility. The play was a colossal success. Italy laughed hysterically at its own corruption. In 1525, the storm Machiavelli had predicted for 20 years finally broke. Foreign powers turned Italy into a slaughterhouse. Pope Clement VII appointed Machiavelli inspector of the fortifications of Florence. It was his last official government job. At 57, weary and frail, he threw his remaining energy into fortifying his beloved city against imperial destruction. He traveled endlessly between military camps, his health rapidly deteriorating under constant stress and bad weather. He wrote to a friend, "I love my native city more than my own soul," but love could not halt destiny. Machiavelli laid bare the ultimate tragedy of statecraft. Good moral intentions often lead to political ruin, while necessary evil can preserve society. Hence his most famous axiom: it is far safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. For love is preserved by a link of obligation, which men break at every opportunity, but fear is preserved by a dread of punishment, which never fails. On his deathbed, he recounted a dream. He chose to go to hell to discuss politics with ancient philosophers rather than bore himself in heaven. May 15th, 27, the ultimate nightmare occurred. Unpaid imperial armies sacked Rome, desecrating the Holy City. In the shockwave, Florence revolted against the Medici. The Republic was reborn. Machiavelli rushed to offer his service to the new Republic. He believed his lifelong dream had finally returned. They rejected him. To the Medici, he was a Republican conspirator. To the Republic, he was a Medici lackey. He was trapped in the middle. Heartbroken and worn out by acute stomach pains, Niccolo Machiavelli collapsed. On June 21, 1527, surrounded by a few loyal friends, he died at the age of 58. He was buried quietly in Santa Cruz Church, leaving behind a destitute family and a world that did not yet understand him. 32 years after his death, the Vatican placed his works on the Index of Forbidden Books, labeling him an instrument of the devil. Machiavellian became an insult for evil deceit. Yet every modern leader, presidents, CEOs, dictators, and revolutionaries read him in secret. Niccolo Machiavelli did not create the dark game of power. He simply turned on the lights. And on his tomb, the truth remains written: for so great a name, no praise is adequate.